Yo everybody, what's going on? This is Keegan from Kman Reviews bringing you the next episode of Review Recall. This will cover most of the albums I managed to listen to in April. Of course, I didn't get to every single thing. There was a lot of releases on the 29th that I missed, and they will be pushed over to the May Review Recall, but let's not waste any more time. Let's just dive in. What is this album meant to be, exactly? The overall songs in here are okay, some even border on amazing, like Liar, but there's little cohesion here at all. I was having trouble pinpointing what this album wanted to properly sound like. It's definitely the weakest I've heard Dreamville, but it's also just a mixtape, so I can't really harp on it too much. While this is very cohesive and competent folky singer-songwriter record, much like other K.R.I.T records, I don't think it needed to be this long. Maybe trim it down to about 20 or even 30 minutes. This could have been really great, but as it is, the length just really bogged this one down for me. It's not as good as Chomp 2, but I still think Russ gets way more hate than he deserves, especially nowadays. Thomas Rhett's more recent material has actually been working pretty well for me. I did really like his Country Again album. This one feels a bit more like a regression to me, but still firmly a positive reaction. Latto comes off on this album just like a better version of Megan Thee Stallion, and I already enjoyed most of Megan's music, so you can probably imagine how I felt about this. I really enjoyed Wallows' debut album, so naturally I got excited for the sophomore here, and disappointment. If I had a nickel for every time I heard a modern rap album with pop tinges suffocated by a bloated track list, I'd probably give that money to other artists making better music. Probably the most I've enjoyed Father John Misty recently, but this got a little bit tedious near the back half of the record, so much so that I was actually yawning during the listen of this album. It's got pleasant sounds, appealing atmospheres, and great songwriting, but there wasn't much here to warrant coming back to a full listen. Okay, I get the hype for this band now. Despite this being really long, and my general disinterest for the Chili Peppers, this album actually surprised me in how cohesive and enjoyable it is, even at the nearly 70 minutes. I don't have anything of value to say about this, except for it does not compare to her last album. That was just much better. This album was on a pretty okay rise going in and up to the halfway point, but the back half just crumbled for me. Was not crazy about that at all. It is a new Bonnie Raitt album. I don't really have anything else to say about it. It's a nice listen while it's on, but after the fact, it's gone just like that. Sid usually falls in a bit more of a middle ground for me. I don't really hate anything she puts out, but I'm also not head over heels for it. This new album falls into that as well. Very good stuff, but just nothing truly remarkable in my opinion. A very pleasant hip-hop record here. Love a lot of the instrumentals. The delivery was consistently engaging. Not really anything to hate in this, I feel. Just a respectable album, and I liked it. It didn't leave as much of a lasting impression as I wanted, but I kind of expected that. Bulow has demonstrated that she's much more of a singles artist rather than a project artist, but there isn't much to hate while it's on, that's for sure. It's not as good as either K.R.I.T's solo album or Wiz's collaborative mixtape with Juicy J, but you'd be hard-pressed to find something not to like here. SM promoted the hell out of this like it was the best thing to come out of the company in the past 2 years. And I can't help but feel like NCT Dream's glitch mode from 2 months ago should have gotten that insane level of promotion. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad at all. Suho's got an amazing voice as usual, but a good chunk of this feels like he's trying to do the same thing as the last EP, which was still good. Plus, Hurdle is a complete bop, but at the end of the day, it's just pretty similar, down-tempo, intimate pop singer-songwriter. Not bad, but I was expecting more. I gotta be honest. I'm disappointed. Does not do anything new at all, but it still shows the band's talent well and knack for consistency, so I'd say it's pretty alright even for being their 10th album. This EP has a lot of warm, summery vibes to it, and that song with J. Cole I can just see being blasted in June or July. It's certainly here to tide fans over, and it does a great job at that too. Can't wait for what's next. As a fan of Camila's first two albums, plus Don't Go Yet, the whole album was not up to the expectations I had set for it. It had its moments, sure, but the transformation from romance into this watered-down Latin pop fusion was just an unfortunate disappointment. All I can really say about this is that it feels like a proper send-off to Phife, an amazing achievement in a world of mediocre posthumous releases. Damn, one of the best K-pop experiences this year. This was really fun, and that title track I will have jamming for a while. This is the debut EP from this New York-based producer and now rapper, and I liked it. Beats were often very smooth, and in Have Mercy's case, almost omnipotent. He also has a very unique style of rapping. It seems he has a bit of a lisp, so automatically he stands out from the average rapper. Yeah, I was pleased with this. Despite that awful album cover, this is just a very fun record. I grew up listening to some of this band's biggest hits, so happy I got to see a new album of theirs during this time when I'm so invested in music. And this is just some fun, silly pop-punk. There are some horrible lyrics here, I cannot sugarcoat that at all, but this album is a mood raiser if you let it sink in. I have said this before and I'll say it again, T Grizzly is one of my guilty pleasures in rap, and this new mixtape of his is still pretty great. Not as good as Built for Whatever from last year, but I'm not going to complain with new T Grizzly. One of the best modern country albums I've ever heard. A lot of emotion, a lot of vulnerability, some of the stickiest melodies too. This took me by surprise. I wish I liked this more. It kicked off very strong with Bliss with FKA Twigs, but after that, the album just went on a downhill slope it just never recovered from. It's colorful, it's anthemic, it's damn catchy, it's everything I could ask from a pop album and then some. You know, as much as I want to make a meme of that damn album cover, I can't bring myself to do it because I think this is a bit of a step up for Future in recent years. He sounds a bit more revitalized, a bit more passionate here. It was a mostly enjoyable listen. But of course, it still did have its moments where I was just kind of bored, like on High Off Life, so I'm still happy with this, and I hope Future can continue this upward trajectory. I wish more people would stop sleeping on Alec Benjamin. Guy's got some of the best melodies in this indie bedroom pop-esque style. He hasn't released a project I've been disappointed with, and this album is certainly no exception. Alright, is it Daytona? No, it's not. Is it still a great album outside of Daytona's shadow? Absolutely yes. So this is the side project of Foo Fighters frontman Dave Grohl, and he experiments with a lot of different shades of metal here, from doom, thrash, death metal, guttural, ferocious vocals, and a still catchy, concise instrumental foundation. If any of that sounds interesting to you, you won't want to miss this. I was a bit disappointed this didn't live up to the first half of this double album. Didn't have the same inherent catchiness, plus the 5 live tracks at the end really weighed this one down more so than the first half. As a whole, though, it wasn't terrible at all, but I won't be heralding this nearly as much, unfortunately. I think people harp way too much on Vince's recent material. This is easily the best thing he's released since Big Fish Theory. Feels intricate, much more emotional too. I heavily fucked with this album. This is one of my most anticipated releases of the year, believe it or not. Toro y Moi is an artist I have watched grow and evolve, and while this new record doesn't live up to the admittedly impossible expectations I had for it, this was still a lovely album. Love hearing him tackle a funkier, more psychedelic side, while also pumping out the occasional banger in the tracklist like Postman. Unfortunately, I don't think this will be an Album of the Year candidate for me, but this is another home run for Chaz. Certainly not the best pop album. I'm very biased towards morbid stuff, but I don't really see a reason why that this isn't at least a great album. Check it out if you haven't. New Jules record here, and it's alright. I can't say there's all that much memorable about it, and the vocal work was kinda atrocious, which is a bit of a shame since she had one of the most unique and magnetizing voices of the mid to late 90s. It's not an outright offensive album at all, but if you're a fan, I would recommend skipping it. I know y'all know I've been into this underground hip-hop scene as of late. I already covered a few of those earlier in this, and Nuns' new album here is an amazing addition to that. Jack White continuing the experimental lane ignited on Boarding House Reach while also releasing some chaotic bangers at the same time. This might just be my favorite Jack White album. Last one's left? I sincerely doubt that, considering this is just another typical rap album. I am surprised with how quickly Mitchell Tenpenny went from horrible to alright to pretty great on this latest EP of his here. I did not expect such a crazy turnaround. Blast was one of my most highly anticipated XXL freshmen of last year, and this first solo album post XXL lives up to that hype. Very happy with how well this turned out. Alrighty folks, and that is going to do it for this episode of Review Recall. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. All of my social media links will be down in the description below. But thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace!